Hey everybody, it's Squeevy. Alright, today I'm going to show you how to set up your defense. Alright, well first we're going to log into the game. Here we go, get through all their pop-up nonsense. Okay, now once you're in here, everyone knows how to get on their wall. You click a tower, you click the shield that says defense. Alright, I have all my tools set up right now, I'm going to take them all down. Sorry about that, I got a lot of tools. Alright, that's all the ones off the wall. Let's go to the moat. I don't have anything in the keep. Okay, here we have our wall. When I leave the game, I leave my wall at 100% on the flank, 0, 0. Now the way you change how many troops and where they're stationed is with these two knobs here. They go back and forth, so right now it's 29% on this flank here, and 72% right here in the center. Okay, you can change this one, so now we have 72% on this flank with 29 here. And you can manipulate this any way you want. You can do 15, 71, 14. Everybody sees how that works? Alright. Now the reason you would change this is because you can see the person's attack that's coming in, and you get to decide what part of the wall you want to defend. But when I leave the game, and I'm not on to see an attack coming, I always leave it as 100, 0, 0. Because, now this is one of the biggest parts of defending, is you have to realize that when you're defending and the person's attacking comes to take your wall, that if you hold one section of wall, so if all I do is hold this one flank here, that when we fight in the keep, when all of the troops come into the keep, there is no advantage at all, where all of our troops are fighting at the same level. But if he were to take all three of my walls, then he gets a 30% advantage against all of my defensive troops in the keep. Now, however, what I do sometimes when I'm on and I see an attack coming in is I'll do a 50-50. And that way I hold this wall and this wall. And if I'm able to hold two walls, then I get the 30% advantage in the keep. Okay. So, hopefully you guys all understand that. If you don't, you can ask me some questions, send me some messages, either in the Alliance chat or direct messages, or even if you just want to leave questions underneath the video, that's fine too. Now, the biggest thing that you have in defense, even bigger than the soldiers that you have, are your tools down here. Defensive rocks add 25% protection to your wall. Now, at a level 3 wall, your wall starts at 60%. Depending on what your Castilian has, your wall can be a little bit higher, but assume that your base wall is 60%. When I set up my wall, when I'm just leaving it, I always leave rocks in two sections. Now that puts my wall at 110%. Now along with that, I normally put flaming arrows, which add 25% to defensive soldiers, ranged defensive soldiers. So, now my ranged soldiers fight at 188%, because my Castilian does a lot of help for my ranged people. Now, the point of adding flaming arrows and not just doing all three of them as rocks is that one tool, the ladder, knocks out the rocks. But if I have flaming arrows here, then he has to decide whether or not he's going to bring, I forget what they're called, but the shields that the ranged people can carry, that the attackers can carry, that helps them defend against range. So this keeps attackers from just sending ladders at my walls. Now, when I'm off, I leave all of my walls this way. That way when I get on, I don't have to worry about putting tools and stuff up on my walls. I just have to worry about changing the number of soldiers I have where to meet each attack. And it took me a long time to get this many tools, so I don't expect you all to be able to just build them instantly. But this is how I leave my wall, at a base setup of 99, 99, 99, and the base setup of 0, 0, 100. Now, even as important as having the 0, 0, 100, you have to go in here and click on this thing with the quiver arrows and the sword. Click on this and make sure that when you're leaving, you have your unit distribution at 50% melee and 50% ranged. Because if you leave it at 100% ranged, all you have on this wall now are ranged defenders. And ranged defenders only defend well against other ranged attackers. They're almost useless against melee attackers. So if an attacker sees your wall only has ranged defenders on it, he's only going to send melee attackers. And vice versa if you leave it 100% melee to 0% ranged. Now he sees that, and all he's going to send is ranged attackers against you, because melee defenders do not defend well against ranged. Remember that. Okay, that's another key thing about defense. Ranged defenders fight well against ranged attackers, and melee defenders fight well against melee attackers. So when you're defending, think same. I want to have the same number of things as he has of the same type of thing. So two-handed swordmen, you need to counteract with halberds, and heavy crossbowmen, you need to counteract with your longbowmen. And if it's just bowmen, also longbowmen, you get the picture. Ranged defenders, ranged attackers, melee defenders. Now, the castle gate, which I normally don't tend to defend because they can send so many more attackers at the front, does give you a second tool that you can play with here, which is the castle gate's defense. Because of this additional defensive tool that you can use, attackers can also use a third offensive tool against you. So that, combined with the amount of troops they can send up the front, is normally why I leave the front undefended. However, if I do see a weak attack coming, I will manipulate these things so that I can defend the front as well as the flank. But that happens on rare occasions. Normally, if I'm defending two things, I just do a 50-50 split between my two flanks. And that's how I defend. It's just easier, they have less troops, it's all much less messy. Now, for those of you who are level 37 or up, you need to build a moat. For those of you who have a moat, this is your most important piece of defense. There is nothing in the game that's more important than having a good structured moat. The moat adds a serious bonus to defenders. Attackers who don't bring moat tools against a castle with a defensive moat get crushed. It's just a fact. That's how it works. I don't know why. I don't know why the game made the moats so superpowered, but they did. So if you have a moat, you need to utilize it. It needs to be full of tools at all time, and it needs to be utilized. Okay. So when I do my moat, I have more than 99. You can't have more than 99 tools in defense anywhere. So I just put my 99 here and 90 here. And I'm going to keep building more moat tools because I need more, because I don't have any here yet. So that way I have my flank where everyone's coming covered. So now, when I have attackers coming, they have to pick, because they can only send 2 attacking tools, whether or not to bring in ladders, shields, or moat tools. If they don't bring moat tools, they're going to get crushed. So they bring in moat tools, and then they have to decide whether or not they're bringing ladders or this. So either way, one of my defensive tools is going to be left free for me to range however I want with it. If he doesn't bring any ladders, then I'll pull these off the wall and add more rocks. If he doesn't bring any of these, I'll pull my stones off the wall and add more flaming arrows. Just in response to whatever he didn't bring and make my defense that much stronger. But if I'm not on when the attack's coming, my base setup, as always, 2 rocks, 1 flaming arrow, moat spikes. This is how your defensive setup needs to be all the time if you're not on to see the attack. It needs to be 50% range to melee, 2 rocks, flaming arrows, moat tools. There is no exception. There's no longer going to be any excuses for this. This is how defense needs to be set up when you're not on the castle. So 99% of the time, this is how your defense should look when you get attacked. We have enough defensive tools and enough defensive units in this alliance that we can cover against nearly any attack if this is how you leave it set up. But it has to be set up like this because we can't afford to have huge losses. Now, if you do happen to be on, and you do see the attack coming in, and it's, and you see it's a weak attack on both flanks, you can feel free to manipulate this however you best see fit. But if you're not on, this is how it needs to be at all times, no exceptions. Okay. Now, one of the cool things that I've always liked, and I don't really use it very often, is the keep, where you can station dummy troops. Now the dummy troops, the basic ones that you can build for resources are just spearmen and bowmen. But each one is worth 10. So when I put these 70 on the wall, now the next time someone spies on me, they see 700 bowmen and 650 spearmen. Now, the ones you can buy for rubies, these are archers, but they're worth 15. So whatever, 15 times 48. Let me think here for a second, quick. $720. When they come and they spy, they see 720 archers. I don't normally put this stuff on the wall. I'm not putting this stuff on the wall until I have 99 of each. So I normally just leave this blank. But that is another option if you have big guys spying on you, is to put those on the wall to discourage them to attack. Okay, so let's just go back through this quick. Base setup, 2 rocks, 1 flaming arrow, moat tools. 100% 0, 0. This is our base setup when you're not on. Range to melee ratio has to be 50% to 50%. The only reason any of this should ever change is if you are actually on, physically on your castle, to see an attack coming in. Otherwise, it needs to be 100, 0, 0, 50% ranged to melee. All slots need to be filled with tools. Whether you have 99 or not, you need to have at least 5 of each thing in each slot. You need to have 5 moat tools, you need to have 5 rocks, 5 rocks, 5 flaming arrows. No exceptions. No reason there should be any other way. Okay. If anyone has any questions for me, this is just a basic run-through of defense. I can answer more specific questions anyone has, and do another video if you need me to. But this is the basic defense. We got castle gate tools, castle wall tools, moat tools, keep tools. 100, 0, 0, 50, 50. No exceptions. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I'm not sending defenders to people who can't follow these basic rules. Alright? If we're going to run an alliance here, we need to be able to run defense. We're losing too many defenders and too many stupid attacks. If you forget once in a while, that's one thing. But if it becomes a consistent problem, there are going to be sanctions and there are going to be reparations against this. We can't afford to keep losing troops the way that we do. So, 100, 0, 0, 50, 50. Tools stacked at least 5 high in each one of the slots. That includes the moat. Alright, thanks guys, have a great day. I'll do some more videos sort of like this. Maybe I'll do one on attacking next time. We'll see. Alright, it's been fun. Everybody enjoy. Hopefully you learned something today. Alright, let's get back at kicking ass.